So, good day. So, this part naman, I'm gonna discuss the instructions and the requirements for the midterm output. So, again, yung PowerPoint presentation, it's just parang a discussion kung paano makikita yung character traits. Ito naman, kung paano mismo gagawin yung ating character analysis essay. So your major output is to write a character analysis of a major character in the story Mayday Eve. Mayday Eve by Nick Joaquin. Once you have chosen a character to analyze, choose 3 adjectives that describe that character. So these adjectives or character traits will be the basis for your 5-paragraph essay. So bakit may 5-paragraph essay? So first one is for the introduction. Well, the paragraphs 2 to 4 ay i-discuss nyo yung tatlong adjectives na napili nyo. So, paano i-discuss yung tatlong adjectives na pinili nyo? So, kailangan, kunyari may sinabi kayo na the character is generous. So, kailangan may pipili kayo ng mga lines from the short story, yung mismong literal na lines sa short story na nagsabi na siya ay generous. So, ganun yung gagawin for the 3 bodies. Tatlo yung bodies ng paragraphs. And the last one is, of course, the conclusion. So, 1 introduction, 3 bodies para sa tatlong adjectives, at 1 conclusion. Kaya 5-paragraph essay ang ating character analysis essay. So, here is the guide or the requirements. Your thesis statement should be stated directly in your introduction and be proven throughout your body paragraphs. So, kailangan daw meron tayong thesis statement. So, ano po ba yung thesis statement? Huwag magpapanik, hindi ko kayo papagawin ng thesis, okay? At hindi rin naman sobrang haba ng ating magiging character analysis. A thesis statement is just parang doon iikot yung gagawin yung character analysis. Ito yung major topic. It's just, a thesis statement is just one sentence lang na yun yung parang magiging structure or framework ng inyong magiging character analysis. So, di-discuss ko later. Ito yung, nandito sa baba, yung how to write your thesis as a statement. Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, I prepared everything, every detail, every instruction, every guide, every requirement na para malaman nyo kung ano yung bawat step na gagawin sa paggawa ng character analysis. So, how to write a thesis statement? So, a thesis statement is a sentence or 2 that tells the reader what the rest of the essay is about. Parang it's not the title, okay? Hindi po siya ang title, pero ito yung major topic, major thought, ito yung mag-guide or magiging structure kung ano yung magiging content ng gagawing essay. Good thesis statements do not simply announce a topic. They say something about the topic and it provides the framework for your paper. Sinabing framework, ito yung magiging structure na parang throughout the essay, ito yung content ng magiging essay. Dito lang iikot yung thought nung gagawin na character analysis. So, parang ito kasi magiging guide, hindi ka mawawala sa kung ano yung dapat mong i-discuss lamang sa story. So, never start a thesis with, in this paper, I will discuss. Kasi hindi rin naman pwedeng gamitin ng I kasi gagamit tayo ng third person. Never start a thesis with in this paper I will discuss. So, pag ayokong makakita ng in this paper I will discuss sa inyong gagawing character analysis. So, a thesis statement makes a promise to the reader about the scope, the purpose, and the direction of the paper. So it summarizes the conclusion that the writer has reached about the topic. So again, ang thesis statement, ito lang yung major content, major thought, ito yung parang guide kung saan papunta ang iyong discussion. ang iyong essay na gagawin. So here is an example of a thesis statement for character analysis essay. Okay? For character analysis essay lang tong ibinigay kong example. Through Miss Maudie Atkinson's open-mindedness, optimism, and compassion, she helps Jem and Scout better understand Atticus in their community. So, ito na po yung thesis statement para sa isang character analysis. Character analysis. So, finalo pa rin niya yung aking instructions na kumuha ng major character. So, ang major character dito si Miss Maudie Atkinsons. At ang kanyang three adjectives or three character traits ay siya ay open-mindedness, may open-mindedness, optimism, and compassion. And sa pamamagitan ng kanyang ng three character traits na yon ni Miss Maudie Atkinsons, natulungan niya yung iba pang characters such as Jem and Scout to better understand Atticus in their community. Okay, so dito pa lang sa one sentence na ito, one sentence thesis statement na ito, na-discuss na yung major character, na-discuss yung tatlong character traits, at na-discuss kung paano nakatulong ang major character na napili doon sa story, kung ano yung naging role niya sa story. So, yun yung thesis statement, okay? Pipili lang ng major character, kung ano yung tatlong character traits niya at kung ano yung naging role niya doon sa story na yun. So, yung thesis statement daw na gagawin nyo is dapat makikita yon sa introduction. It is stated directly in your introduction. Okay. Pero hindi sinabi na yun agad yung kauna-unahan, okay? Basta nasa part lang siya ng introduction. Kasi nga, introduction is one paragraph. So, ibig sabihin, ang introduction, hindi lamang thesis statement ang laman. Okay. Next requirement, you must use at least one quotation from the novel in each of the three body paragraphs to support your ideas. So, kunyari dito sa thesis statement na ito, diniscuss mo na open-mindedness, optimism, and compassion. So, kailangan sa body mo, yung tatlong three adjectives na to is i-discuss mo and kukuha ka ng mga lines or mga quotations or descriptions mula dun sa short story na yon para ma-discuss mo kung saang part pinakita yung pagiging open-mindedness, saang part nakita yung pagiging optimist, saang part napakita yung pagiging, yung compassion ni Miss Maudie. So, kailangan may supporting details from the short story. Yung napili mong character traits. Yun yung pangalawa. Ang una, kailangan may thesis statement sa introduction. Pangalawa, kailangan may supporting details such as quotation. Laging may quotation sa bawat adjective. Ibig sabihin, sa tatlong body, meron ka ding dapat at least tatlo. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mas higit pa sa isa sa bawat body. Basta kailangan bawat body ay may quotation. These quotations must correctly documented according to the MLA guidelines. Refer to format for quotations below. So, kailangan daw merong yung proper citations tayong ilalagay. Okay? Kasi hindi naman directly nanggaling sa atin yung lines, kundi sa story. So, format for quotations below ay nilagay ko na rin po dito. Nilagay ko dito, weights. Dito yan. Yan. Format for quotations. So, nilagay ko na rin dyan. A change in Jem's attitude. Example number 1, the basic quotation. A change in Jem's attitude towards the Radleys is shown when Scout reports. So then the quotation, less than 2 weeks later, we found a whole package of chewing gum, which we enjoyed the fact that everything on the Radley place was poison, having slipped Jem's memory. Lee, Lee 60s. So, yung Lee dito is yung last name ng author. So, after every quote na ilalagay nyo, you have to write the author's last name. So, syempre, ano ba ang last name ng author ng Mayday Eve? Joaquin. So, after every quote, write the author's last name and the page number that the quote is found on in parenthesis followed by a period. Okay. Dapat kasi yung period, yon ay ang pinaka-last. So, after every quotation, after every, kung may quote, period pa din, after every parenthesis, basta after every punctuations, ang period lagi. So, you have to write Joaquin, and since ito naman ay short story, so ilagay nyo na lang yung page ng um, kung saan matatagpuan. Yung page ng, di ba, may sinend akong um, story na Mayday Eve. Ako lang yung gumawa nun. Kinapi ko lang. So, kung ano lang yung page, kunyari dito, page, ano ba to? Page, makikita naman, page 3 of 6, yan, di ba? Kung sa page 3 nyo siya nakita, edi page 3, Joaquin 3. Ganun po, okay? So, example number 2, a quote within a quote. Ibig sabihin example nito, before kayo lagi i-directang sabihin yung, ilagay yung quotation. So, a change in Jem's attitude toward the Radley. So, dito pinakita, it is parang an introduction. So, bago maglagay ng quotation, dapat laging merong quotation, introduction. This is called as the tagline. Kailangan merong introduction na nagdi-discuss muna about dun sa quotation. So, katulad dito, i-discuss yung change ng attitude. Paano nag-develop yung attitude daw ni Jem? Paano nag-change yung behavior niya? So, it's just a tagline. Wag ilagay na ito agad. Kasi ano tong line na to? You have to discuss muna kung para saan yung quotation na inilagay nyo. Next one naman is example number 2. A quote within a quote. So, example number 2 is a quote within a quote. So, ibig sabihin dyan, may mga double quotation marks. So, around the entire quote. Kasi parang, yung first quote, kung makikita po natin, ito yon. So, doesn't make right. So, ibig sabihin, this is the whole quotation from the story. And then, syempre, pag may mga nagsasalita, kino-quote din natin. So, yon, a quote within a quote. Always remember to put a tagline or create an intro to your quotation, such as this one. Jem's frustration with the injustices of the world is shown in the courtroom. So, dito pinakita, ito yung supporting details about the tagline. And dun sa supporting details na quotation na ito, is meron ding nagsalita. So, si Jem. So, kaya meron siyang ganon na quotation. So, it is a quote within a quotation. Again, you have to put the author's last name and the page. So, kung ano yung page nga, page 3 of 6, yun na lang yung ating ilalagay. Next is the last one, example number 3. So, example number 3, changing a word or two in a quotation to clarify its meaning. So, diba, may quotation tayo. So, we are allowed to put minimal lang naman. Minimal changes sa word, hindi naman sobrang dapat dami, para lang magkaroon ng clarifications. Okay? So, Harper Lee helps her readers understand why this neighbor is so mysterious to the children of the neighborhood when she states that. So this is the tagline. Ang inexplain naman dito is yung kung ano yung si Harper Lee kasi yung writer. So dito sa tagline, instead na ang ginamit niya is yung character, ginamit niya dito is yung kung ano ba yung gustong palabasin ng writer daw. So, Mr. Radley kept Boo. So, kept, ibig sabihin, ito kasi ay yung pangalan ng isang character. So, para lang mas maintindihan ng mambabasa yung gagawing character analysis. Kasi hindi naman din may mga nagbasa ng yung makakabasa ng character analysis mo, maaaring hindi nila nabasa yung whole story. So, to add clarifications about dun sa character analysis, pwede kang mag-insert ng word. So, the original is Mr. Radley kept chained kept chained to the bed most of the time. So, si Mr. Radley daw kept Boo. So, sino si Boo? Yung another character in the story. So, if you make a change to the original text, kasi pagka tulad nito, may in-insert ka. If you want to make a change to the original text for clarifications only, put the change in bracket. So, katulad dito, nilagay mo lang kung sino yung nagsasalita or kung sino yung pinapatungkulan ng statement na yan. So, kung may changes kang ginawa, you have to put those changes inside the bracket. Para ibig sabihin, hindi yon from the original text, kundi yung gumawa ng character analysis ang naglagay lang ng ganong uri ng changes. And again, there should be a tagline and at the end, it's the citation. Again, pag walang citation sa bawat quotation sa body na ginawa ninyo, ay deductions ulit yon. So, yun ang pangatlo. So, pangatlo na requirements. Una, thesis statement. Pangalawa, kailangan may supporting details quotation. Pangatlo, may citations ang bawat quotation. Pang-apat, the paper, ito yung format. Baka may tatanong na naman, Diyos ko po. The paper must be typed in 12-point font, Bookman old style, and double-spaced and justified. Okay, ito po ang, kung makikita niyo pag nag-type nandito, ito ang font size 12. Ito naman ang font style. Miss po, ano ba tawag to? Font style. Pipiliin po ay Bookman Old Style. Bakit Bookman? Wala. Gusto ko lang. Mas itsura kasi siya. Of course, book nga eh. 'Di ba? Bookman Old Style. So, mas itsura siyang parang libro. Kasi maliit din masyado yung font ng Times New Roman. Mahirap mag-check. Itong very pleasing sa reader. Kaya pinili ko din yung Bookman Old Style. And then, yung style nga niya is of course parang sa libro. Kaya magandang tingnan. So again, huwag magtatanong ha kung anong mga format dahil nilagay ko na po dyan. The paper must be typed in 12-point font, Bookman Old Style, and double-spaced and justified. And one by one lahat ang margin. Katulad nito, one lahat margin yan. Top, bottom, left, right. One ang margin. So, ilalagay ko na lang sa corrections. The paper must have a title. So, dapat yung may title ang inyong character analysis. Sa inyo manggagaling ang title ha. Hindi kung ano yung title ng story. Hindi, kunyari, May Day Eve, character analysis ang title. Hindi. Gagawa kayo ng sariling title para sa inyong piniling character analysis. Siyempre, yung may, kunyari, kung ano yung lesson na nakuha nyo doon, yun ang kukuhanin nyo. Mamaya may papakita kong sample mismo ng isang buong character analysis essay. So, the title is very simple. Do not underline, do not italize, do not yung make your text bold, do not italize your text, naka-center lang yung title, okay? 12 din ang font ng title. So, the length is, the paper should be at least one full page typed, but no more than 2 pages. The paper should be at least 2 pages. Yan na, the paper should be at least 2 pages. At least, ibig sabihin hanggang 2 pages lang, walang gagawa ng hanggang 3 pages. Ma'am, pwede po hanggang 3 pages? Pwede, may bawas na. Basta 2 pages lang, okay? 2 pages. Wag namang masyadong yung 1.5 page lang. Basta 2.5 page short band paper. Short ang size ng paper. Deductions will be made for the following errors. First and second person pronouns. Keep your paper in third person. Hindi po pwedeng I will, ganun. I. Hindi pwede. Lalagay the writer discussed o kaya Roger, kung sino yung, kunyari, Anastasia is ganyan, Agueda is ganyan. Hindi pwedeng ikaw yung, hindi pwedeng first and second person pronouns or yung point of view. Laging third person. Slang and non-specific words, thing, guy, a lot, kid, etc. Also informal. Informal words ay hindi accepted. Okay, alam nyo na yun yung mga informal. Kinda, gonna, hindi po yung pwede sa mga essays, okay? Yung I'm gonna, try na. Bawal yung mga ganon. Grammar, of course, spelling and usage errors. So, typing errors, tense shifts, right? Ibig sabihin, pag nagsulat ka sa present tense lang, mula introduction hanggang conclusion, present tense lang ang gagamitin, okay? Not italicizing book titles. Kasi sa introduction, dun mo na i-discuss kung nandun din yung title ng story, okay? Kasi mamaya, ito yung requirements pa lang, ito yung mga guides, okay? Ito yung mga dapat nyong i-follow sa paggawa ng essay. So, ito lang ang inyong character choices. Ibig sabihin, wala kayong ibang gagawa ng character analysis kundi si Anastasia, si Agueda, si Bodoy Montilla, and Voltaire. Hindi lahat, okay? Kaya nga choices, ibig sabihin, pipili lang ng isa mula sa apat na character na ito. Pipili lang ng isa, nabibigyan ng 3 character traits, at i-discuss nyo sa character analysis essay. Again, ito pa lamang ay requirements, okay? Hindi ko pa dinidiscuss paano gawin ang introduction, body, at ang conclusion. So, ito yung writing your thesis statement na explain ko na kanina yan. And then this one, detailed outline on how to do the critical analysis. Okay, so it is the steps. This is just the requirements or parang the criteria. This is the way or the detailed outline in doing your character analysis story. So, paragraph 1 is, of course, the introduction. So, introduction, general comments about the character and or the novel lead you to your thesis statement o described above. So, meron dapat thesis statement sa introduction. Be sure you have identified the author and the title of the book and the character you will be analyzing. Some questions you could address in your introduction include, ibig sabihin, itong initalize ko to, ibig sabihin, hindi kayo required, okay, nasagutan yung mga tanong na to para lang magkaroon ng introduction. Ito lang yung mga para magkaroon kayo ng mahaba-habang introduction aside from the thesis statement, kasi paragraph yun, okay? Hindi dapat na ang thesis statement lang ang laman ng introduction. Medyo mahaba din ang introduction. So, paano kayo magagawa ng introduction? Ito, guide lang to. So, why did you pick this character? What do you like or dislike about this character? Do you identify with this character on any level? And do you know someone similar to him or to her? Again, it's just a guide. Depende na kung gusto nyong sundin to. Okay? Paragraphs 2 to 4. 3 body paragraphs. The topic sentence for each body paragraphs includes one character trait you choose to describe your character. So, di ba, sa character analysis, may 3 character traits na pipiliin. Paulit-ulit na ako doon sa about character na yon. Representative yun para sa each body paragraph. So, for example, Atticus Finch is a man of great integrity. So, follow the topic sentence with evidence from the novel. So, kung diniscuss mo na may great integrity ang iyong character, edi magbigay ka ng quotations or supporting details from the story na nagsasabi, you can have a direct quotation na nagsasabi na siya ay may integrity. Ano yung mga lines na kung gusto mo marami, okay lang. So, ano yung mga lines na nagsasabi or nagpo-prove dun sa character trait na pinili mo? Ganun lang paulit-ulit lang din naman yung mga, ganun yung process, okay? Pero ang maganda, dapat is may transition. Dapat may order yung pagkakagawa nyo ng essay. Hindi yung parang basta na lang siningit. Dapat maganda yung flow. Gumagamit tayo mga transition words, mga furthermore. In addition to that, paragraph number 5 is the last one or the conclusion. Conclusion, restate your thesis statement and add some final thoughts about your character and or the novel. Leave the reader in awe of your wisdom. So, conclusion, parang you just have to agree with what you said doon sa iyong starter or doon sa iyong introduction. You have to, parang conclusion, you have to conclude, you have to summarize kung ano yung nandoon sa content ng iyong essay. And ano ba yung summarize? Yung iyong thesis, ano ba yung summary? Yung iyong, of course, the thesis statement. O you just have to parang, hindi naman totaling uulitin eh. Pwede mo naman siyang baguhin, pero ganun pa rin yung idea. For example, sinabi mo dito na, Atticus Finch is a very fearless, ganan, ganan, ganan. Pag nilipat mo dito sa paragraph number 5, Atticus Finch is a very courageous man. Ganon. Have the courage. So, you have just to parang paikot-ikutin mo lang yung mga salita. Pero wag mong directly uulitin. Kung ano yung sinabi mo sa introduction, yun na mismo yung sasabihin. Hindi po. Yung idea na sinabi mo sa introduction, yun din yung idea mo for the for the conclusion. Pero hindi yun yung mismo words. Hindi kailangan literal na literal. Okay? Para akong nagtuturo ng ano dito, feature writing. Yan, nilagay ko po. Ayan. So, may bibigay akong sample essay and yung bibigay kong essay is an example of an A essay. Sabihin, it's a perfect essay. So, So, in the introduction, the writer, bakit naging perfect yung essay na example? Because in the introduction, the writer does use an appropriate attention-getting technique. So, ibig sabihin yung kanyang introduction is very catchy. Yung hindi tatama rin ang reader na basahin simula hanggang dulo yung character analysis. Kasi pag nakakatamad, makaka-apekto yun sa grade nyo. So, make a good transition to author and work identification. So, again, sa introduction, doon i-discuss ang book and title na book and title, book and the author. So, parang dapat may malinis na transition. Yung parang kasama lang siya sa flow. Hindi yung basta mo na lang naisingit yung mga words. Dapat may flow yan. So, weave author and work identification into paragraph. So, provide a thesis statement that does more than merely list traits. So, kung ano yung position kung ano yung role, kung ano yung character traits, yun nakalagay sa thesis statement. So, in the body of the essay, the writer does use clear topic sentences with variety of placements, use strong transition into support, incorporate sufficient quotations with correct citations. Sufficient quotations, yun yung mga supporting details from the story na dapat may correct citations at the end of each quotation. Provide abundant text-based elaboration. Ibig sabihin, maganda and suitable yung napili niyang quotation as a supporting detail para dun sa character trait na pinili niya. And use strong clincher sentences. Ibig sabihin, aside from inserting quotations or supporting details, dapat may maganda ka rin na explanation. Katulad sabi ko na dapat may mga tagline. So, dapat may maganda kang explanation para dun sa supporting details. Kasi, parang wala ka namang ginawang character analysis. Parang ang ginawa mo na lang, ikinopya mo na lang ng kinopyang quotation pag wala kang sariling input. So, you have to explain din, mula dun sa quotation, kailangan may sarili ka ding explanation. Elaborate mo kung ano yung character trait na nandoon sa quotation or supporting detail na pinili mo. So, in the conclusion, the writer does review character traits. Inulit niya. Parang conclude. Parang sinummarize niya kung ano yung na-discuss from introduction hanggang 3 body and link to introduction about teachers and create a final insight that implies life lesson. So, kung makikita niyo po yung teachers kasi yung lesson doon ay about the teacher. So, about yung character analysis essay na example ipapakita ko is about teacher. So, nagkaroon daw ng link doon sa introduction and conclusion. So, dahil, paano nagkaroon, maganda kasi yung transition. Okay? Yung pag binasa mo, parang dire-diretso talaga siya. May maganda siyang flow. Excuse me. Naglagay na din ako ng tips and hints. First reference to author is by full name. Subsequent references are last name only. Final punctuation is after the citation. Use an original title for your essay. Be consistent. Write about literature in the present tense. Use one point of view. So, yun yung mga dapat matutunan. Wait lang. Ba't ganun? Ito pala yung karoon eh. Sarang mata. Ito. So, this is the example of a character analysis essay. So, makita nyo po, yan ang format. Okay? Finalo niyan lahat nung detailed outline and lahat nung requirement na sinabi ko. So, merong title. Ang title, again, hindi yung title ng kung ano yung story. Kung ano yung title ng story. At hindi rin yung text is naka-bold or naka-italiced. Hindi naka-underline. Simple lang, nasa ka-center lang. Ang font ay, makikita nyo po simula hanggang dulo, ang font ay, yan ay yung pakita. Ang font ay 12. Ang style ay Bookman Old Style. At naka-double space. Paano po mag-double space? Tingnan nyo, tuturo ko pa naman. Ito, yung line and paragraph spacing. Tingnan yung arrow ha. Line and paragraph spacing number 2. Okay, bakit kailangan ng double spacing? Hindi lang dahil kailangan para magmukhang mahaba, para po magmukhang malinis at pleasing sa mambabasa. Kaya po kailangan ng ganyan. So, makikita nyo po, ito ang introduction. Again, ang introduction hindi lamang kailangan ng thesis statement. Dapat ay may mga introduction mismo. And the author and the title of the story or the book. So, makita, when great teachers are mentioned, most people think of biology instructors, football coaches, Girl Scout leaders, and other in similar positions. However, some of the greatest teachers may be individuals not normally classified as teacher. Roger, a character in the story Thank You, Ma'am, by Langston Hughes, encounters such an unusual teacher on a city sidewalk. Because she is a fearless, trustful, and generous woman, Mrs. Jones teaches Roger a lesson he will remember. It is a very nice introduction, very catchy introduction, and then nice transition kasi naipakilala dito yung characters. Si Roger, and naipakilala dito yung title ng book as well as the author of the book. And then, ito yung kanyang thesis statement, okay? So, ito pala, one thesis statement lang yan, ha? And, ito yung kanyang mismong introduction, oh, di ba? Mahaba pa rin. So, ito yung tatlong character traits na napili, fearless, trustful, and generous woman. So, ang major character na napili ay si Mrs. Jones. Ano ang naging role ni Mrs. Jones sa story? Aside from naibanggit ang tatlong traits, Mrs. Jones teaches Roger a lesson he will remember. So, yan. Discuss naman sa tatlong body paragraphs ang tatlong character traits ni Mrs. Jones. Roger is a would-be thief. At about 11 o'clock one night, he runs up behind Mrs. Jones and tries to snatch her purse. When he falls down on the sidewalk, Mrs. Jones simply turned around and kicked him right in square blue jeans sitter 78. Ibig sabihin yan yung citation. While some women would have avoided confrontation with a stranger under similar circumstances, Mrs. Jones does not. She shook Roger until his teeth rattled and then demanded, "Pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here." Mrs. Jones shows no fear in her encounter with Roger. Dito diniscuss kung paano naging fearless si Mrs. Jones. Sinabi ba dito, is it direct way or the direct way of characterization? Hindi po, indirect. Pinakita lang dito yung actions at yung mga sinabi ni Mrs. Jones, di ba? Simply turned around and kicked him right square in the blue jeans sitter. Tapos, pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here. Parang very demanding, di ba? And then demanded. Until his teeth rattled. So, yan, napakarami po niyang citation, ha? Hindi lang isa yung citation na binigay niya. Isa, dalawa, tatlong citation ang inilagay niya. And then, nandun yung description sa dulo, kung ano yung character. Mrs. Jones shows no fear. Oh, binago niya. Hindi naman Mrs. Jones shows being fearless. Di inulit lang. Shows no fear. Dapat hindi pa ulit-ulit ang word pag gumagawa ng mga essay. Na-discuss niya properly yung unang character traits, pangalawa, trustful. Not only does Mrs. Jones display courage, but she also proves to be a trusting person. Dito naman baliktad yung kanyang ano. Pero may transition. Not only does Mrs. Jones display courage. Again, binago niya yung salitang fearless, no fear, hanggang naging courage. So this is the writer's transition. But she also proves to be a trusting person. So na-discuss na. Sa transition pa lang, na-discuss na yung second character trait. So she decides that Roger needs to wash and to eat and that she will take him to her home in order to do so. Very trusting person kasi first time lang magkita pero tinreat na niya ng maayos si Roger. So, gusto niyang pakainin, alagaan, linisan si Roger. Ito yung citations. So, in just a few words, she assumes the role of a teacher and the mother substitute. She not only takes Roger home, but she also continues to display a trusting nature once they arrive. So makikita po natin dito na hindi lang umasa sa quotation yung writer, kasi nagkaroon din siya ng sariling elaboration doon sa quotation, doon sa supporting details. So, kailangan explain nyo din, mag-put kayo ng own words nyo doon sa quotations na napili. Did not watch again, the writer put another citation and he explained again the citation or the quotation. The last one naman, the last body naman is pagiging generous. Yan. Pagiging generous ni Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones' generosity to Roger extends beyond her sharing a meal with him. So, ito yung tagline niya or introduction sa bawat quotation, and then the quotation, and then the explanation. So, laging ganon. Then the conclusion, some teachers are brilliant instructions due to their superior education. Others make excellent teachers because they are adept as communicators. Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones emerges not from a university, but rather from a hotel beauty shop to become Roger's teacher. Her courage, trust, and generosity communicate more to Roger than mere words ever could. So, ito po, ang conclusion, nagkaroon siya ng link dun sa introduction. Kasi ang introduction niya is about teachers. Tapos, ang link niya sa conclusion pa din is about teachers again. And then, ni-restate niya. Hindi niya directly sinulat kung ano yun dun sa introduction. Kinapi-paste lang niya from to the conclusion. Hindi po. Ni-restate niya yung kanyang thesis statement, her courage, trust, and generosity. Kasi diba doon kanina, because she is fearless, trustworthy. She is fearless, trustful, and generous woman. Pero dito, binago niya, her courage, trust, and generosity communicate more to Roger than mere words ever could. Parang dun kasi, because she is fearless, trustful, and generous woman, Mrs. Jones teaches Roger a lesson he will remember. So ito, mag-o-open pa lang dun sa lesson na tinuro ni Mrs. Jones kay Roger. Kaya parang very hanging pa lang yung idea. Ano ba yung lesson? Paano ba naituro yung lesson na yon? So, dito sa body, diniscuss yun. Hanging pa lang dito. Pero sa body na-discuss na. And then sa conclusion, dun na niya sinamarize na hindi lang sa mga salita niya natulungan si Roger, pero nagkaroon sila ng magandang communication ni Roger dahil maganda yung actions na pinakita niya. So, yun. Again, this is an example of an A essay. Sabihin, it's a perfect essay. So, makikita niyo po, yan ay 2-page lang. Kaya-kayang gawin. Mahaba lang yan kasi naka-double space. Pero um, very malaman. So, at finalaw niya lahat ng requirements na nakasaad. So, kung makikita niyo naman po, ayan, oh. Binigay ko na lahat dyan. Ang character analysis essay, kung ano yung requirements. O, dito magdi-discuss kung ano ba yung dapat nyong i-follow. Kung paano kayo gumawa ng thesis statement. Kung paano gumawa ng analysis essay. Kung paano ang format for quotation. Nagbigay pa ako ng tips and hints. Nagbigay ako ng example ng ano. At ito po, ano po yung character. Ito naman, hindi naman to sobrang kailangan gawin nyo din. Ang ipapasa nyo lang kasi mismo ay ere. Ganun lang, as in, tapos ganun lang. Kung kayo ay nahihirapan, na dahil hindi naman lahat ay ganun kadaling magsulat, so, parang ito yung structure lang. Guide lang sa inyo. So, mag-isip muna kayo ng introduction. Bago nyo mismo isulat, mag-isip muna kayo ng introduction. O kung gusto nyo, unahin nyo yung thesis statement nyo. Then, ano yung mga pipiliin yung adjective para sa body? Ano ba yung sa thesis statement nyo? Ano yung pinili yung 3 adjectives? O, ilagay nyo dito. So, sa 3 adjectives na napili nyo, ano yung mga, paano nyo nasabi na siya ay um, may ganong uri ng statement? Ano yung example na hindi ba to yung quote ha? Ano yung example na yon? For example, ito. Nasa ba yun? At about hearance. Dito yun eh. Dito yan. Yun. Ito, Mrs. Jones' generosity to Roger extends beyond her sharing a meal with him. Roger tells her that he tried to steal her purse in order to get money for a pair of blue suede shoes. Mrs. Jones then does a remarkable thing. She takes money from her purse. Oh, yun ang example. She takes money from her purse. May isa pa dito yung pinaliguan niya. Not only does Mrs. Jones display courage, but she also proves to be a trusting person. She decides that Roger needs to wash and to eat and that she will take him to her in order to do so. So, yan. Ito yung character trait. Ito yung example. Anong ginawa? She decides that Roger needs to wash and to eat and that she will take him to her home in order to do so. And after that, may quotation na kasunod. Yan. After ng quotation, dito naman ang explanation. In just a few words, she assumes the role of a teacher and the mother substitute. She not only takes Roger home, but she also continues to display a trusting nature once they arrive. So, again, it is just a guide. Give the adjective, kung ano yung example na ginawa, and then a supporting detail, kung paano na ipakita yung example and yung trait na yon, and then your own explanation, your own elaboration about your supporting detail, and then your great finisher or your conclusion. So, I hope this will help you create your maybe first character analysis essay. So again, if you have, pag may questions, directly na pong ilagay sa Facebook group para malaman ng lahat kung ano yung mga questions. Pag sa Messenger, hindi ko sasagutin. Dapat ay sa Facebook group.